Then I hear my phone ring, feeling weird now. So I answer the phone. I'm hearing crying, and it's just screaming bar from the depths of her soul. And it's his old girlfriend. He's like, have you heard? Welcome to another episode of Deeper Dive Podcast. It's my turn to go into my journey of grief, how it affected me, and various other things. So I've got the lovely Steph here, who's going to interview me because I trust her to do so. And I know she got this.
We got this. But yeah, awesome, Alice. It's a privilege to be interviewing you on this podcast. I know this is gonna unearth some deep emotions and memories as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna cause you to go back, way back into time, to help us to understand, how you was able to, grow through grief. And so, obviously, without further ado, I want to ask the most important question because I know that not a lot of people know who Alex is.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe tell us who Alex is. Who is Alex?
I always say it is in this fact of being a multidimensional being. And I say being a multidimensional being because I'm a person of many different talents. And I express myself in many different ways.
I've seen that.
So, as well as doing the whole food element, from having my own restaurant, cooking classes, snack brand, fresh juices. I've done so much in regards to that because I really love to expand in anything that I'm in. Now studying content creation and marketing, it's making me view content in a whole different way and expression of that content in a whole different way, but then the behavior of people. But that's also made me evolve more and realize how much people love that heartfelt content and how when it resonates with them and their journey, then they're more, capable or able to then, tap a like, comment or share because it resonates with them. But the only way you do that is by being very transparent, raw and honest.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one, to be fair. So I know, obviously, as you mentioned, you used to you owned a restaurant, right? My question to you actually is, what's your favorite I-Town dish?
Hard to say because it may change depending on what space I'm in. A few weeks before this podcast, I was doing a whole watermelon fast.
Tell us some more.
That kind of changed my relationship with food a little bit.
Wow.
Because through that fasting, I realized there's certain things that I was addicted to food-wise. So one of them things being onion rings, and everyone knows like onion ring crisps. It made me realize how much I was addicted to those without realizing it. But that's because that was the craving that kept popping up for me, and I was like, "You're not having onion rings?" So I'm literally talking and reasoning with myself, and because I was doing a parasite cleanse at the same time.
Yeah. thank you for nourishing my mind with that, because sometimes you don't know where the weight comes from. You're like, wow, I'm getting these extra few pounds.
Exactly.
Like, where's this coming from? I haven't eaten or changed my diet in any particular way.
And some people aren't going to the gym, so how can I ain't losing it? Because sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's inflammation. Sometimes it's the mental thoughts that are in the mind that are continuing to make the body stay like that because you see yourself like that.
Yeah, please, let's do a whole nother podcast on this one. Because boy, but yeah. So okay, take us all the way back, right? How old are you now, by the way?
I am nearly 42.
What?
Yeah.
Guys,
August, I'll be 42.
You're joking me, Alex.
Right.
And it's because you're vegan, ITAL. Your skin is just fresh. Like you're youthful as well, very youthful. Yeah. Like you haven't allowed age to kind of define you.
Definitely not. I feel like loads of people feel like you have to be mature, and when you're mature, you'll be more serious. I feel like when you do that, you lose a lot of that smooth energy that allows you to glide through life.
When you have that smooth energy. You do. Wow. So, okay, cool. Take us back to your childhood. What was your best childhood memory?
The one that automatically comes into my mind is me and brother ramping. Like, even though he was 11 years older than me, he would still rough me up and top me up like I'm older, because it's that thing in the 80s, 90s, you get that thing when you're getting punched up because you're getting toughened up.
Yeah.
And you're told that, right? So he used to toughen me up and punch me up, and there was a thing that he used to do called a caterpillar, and if I be cheeky or something like that, he'd say, don't let the caterpillar you. And then that meant he's gonna literally punch up my arms and my legs to the point of where I can't walk. I'm on the floor wriggling around. I can't get up. I can't move. I can't do anything. But I learned to laugh through it. So then pain just became different for me, because I laughed through that, because it's like, yeah, okay, it hurts. I probably have a little tear in my eye, and it gets to the point of where it doesn't hurt no more because I've passed that pain threshold. But yeah, I remember that moment, and then him teaching me how to punch. And then I remember chasing into my mom's bedroom and then punching him up, and he's like, Mom. And he's like, you should never have trouble lying on first place.
Yes.
I remember that memory because he didn't realise that I was listening to everything that he taught me and how to punch, and So yeah, that's one of my vital memories that doesn't go anywhere.
Wow. That's so interesting, because oftentimes we're taught to cry when we're in pain. Pain is obviously an indicator there's something wrong.
Right.
But then we're not really taught how to deal with it, or the after effects of it, And so now I want to ask you to take us back to the time when you first experienced grief, because I know that was a whole nother pain on a whole nother level.
Definitely. Obviously, grief started for me at 4 years old, just like my brother's nan. But I was also close to her, because I used to go to her house a lot and stuff. And I was a different child. I didn't go to people. I was very just observant. I'd just stare at you. But there was a handful of people that I would literally, I'd sit with, and I'd get close to, and I'd laugh and joke. You'd see my smile. But other people who were strangers, you're not going to see that with me, because I was very closed off from people, because I was so sensitive. I could feel everything that people feel. So yeah, I was close to her too. But I remember that funeral, every single part of it, where I remember being in a funeral car, seeing my brother was on my left hand side of me, I was sitting in the middle, and he was breaking down. And I'm seeing him crying, and I'm saying, what's wrong? And I'm trying to grab his arm, and I'm trying to literally soothe him in a way. And I'm asking him what's wrong. And he was just holding my hand and saying it's okay. So I didn't understand what was going on. And then I remember being in the church. I remember seeing what she had on, what she was wearing. They didn't take me to the coffin, but from where I was sitting, I remember her wearing white lace, and I remember seeing it clear as day. I'm like, that memory is all the way from back then. How do I remember that? I remember a blue dress, white polka dots. And when I say to my mom, she's like, how do you remember that? I don't know, but it's a vivid memory. I remember going into the place where the after part was, and the pool table, who was there, family members and stuff. And that was my first interaction with grief. After that, just after that, I went to Jamaica for 2 months. And obviously that was my oldest sister, my dad's oldest child. Like I stayed with her a lot and her children and stuff, and like I loved being there. I didn't want to go home because I loved it. I started talking about everything because they couldn't understand me. And then from then I just started talking about her. But then I remember like I had my 5th birthday there, showing me a cake, everything, and then came back. By the time I was 6 years old, she was murdered. And I remember that clear as day. And I remember my dad breaking. And I remember how that affected, my siblings and stuff. And it wasn't the same anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like after that. So that was initially the first feeling of grief for me. Those were the first rounds of grief from that young age.
Wow, that's so intense and also so interesting because I can't even remember what happened at 4 years old or 6, let alone 8. But the fact that you have such a vivid photographic memory and also the feelings to go with that, showed that there is something special there, But when you experienced feeling other people's grief, how did it make you feel? Do you remember?
I remember just feeling helpless, like especially when I'm observing my brother, for instance, and like that's someone I look up to. That's someone that always had my best interests at heart. Do you know what I mean? Like that's somebody that saved me from being kidnapped. That's a whole nother story, though. And seeing him breaking and not understanding what was actually happening. And then, normally you see someone unhappy, you want to make them happier, so you like allow for a joke or just do something. And that wasn't something that I could do. So yeah, I'd see it as when I was then, it's like it was chaotic to me. It was almost like everything was everywhere. And I want to explain it like scribbles within people's auric fields, like scribbles within people's auric fields, because I've always been a child that could able to see and feel people's emotions. But I noticed that not everybody was able to do that. So people wouldn't understand when I used to say certain things. So I'd see it as scribbles in people's auric fields where everything's just chaotic and static. Yeah, because when you said static, I'm reminded of like 90s TV. You're trying to tune it. And you just see static. Exactly that. It's a disturbance in the energy. Wow, that's so intense. So in terms of, because I know obviously you lost, you experienced losses, and then you've experienced how people felt through those losses. But maybe paint us a picture of your first loss, like where you was like, this is someone close to me. 16. Wow. 2019, obviously I would have just finished school at that point. So by about November, we're kind of realizing that my uncle's not well, and then realized that he's got cancer. So he deteriorated pretty quickly, and he didn't want to stop smoking. He just didn't care to do that. So whenever I smell a cigar, I just think of him, because whenever I'd walk into my home and I smell a cigar, I'd be upset and I'd be like, Mama, Uncle Joe just come, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you call me and tell me he was here? Because favourite uncle on my mom's side, he was just amazing. Like he was that fun, loving uncle. He would be in the children's room with us, because at his house there's like 2 living rooms, and the first living room was always for us children. The other living room was adults, but he would always be in our room, playing music on the jukebox and getting up and dancing with us, and he'd always be a vibe, and that would always draw me to his energy. So watching him deteriorate, and then he went into a hospice, so I was there every single day, and just watching him just deteriorate time after time. And then like little things, like used to walk outside to have a smoke, and I'd go outside with him, sit on the stairs and we're talking. And I remember the wasps trying to come at me and attack me, and I was screaming. At this point I was scared of wasps bad. He's like, you scared of the wasps? The wasps. Like, the wasps. He goes, no, the wasps. And I like literally, that still sticks with me, because I was crying, laughing. What do you mean, wasps? The wasps. And he was just laughing, crying about me, literally just running around the place, trying to get rid of these things. Like I said, I went there every single day and just watched him deteriorate. And the day came when it was just like, he's gone. I was like, shit. are you serious? So I went there that day and just seeing them there lifeless. Like, you don't have a, what do I feel right now? There's numbness, there's emptiness, but then you're also wondering, like, where are you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how come your body's still here then?
Right.
You have all these questions. And I remember like giving him a kiss and still feeling slight warmth in his skin. But then also seeing family members arguing in the room. And I'm there like, do you think he'd want to hear all of this? Because he put these in place straight away, because he was pretty much the glue of the family. So that was the first initial one, and he died in January of 2000.
Right.
So obviously we're going through that. My mom's broken. That's our closest brother. I'm watching the family just, part ways in certain points because people are arguing with others. And then 5 months later, May the 13th. So we're talking not long ago in regards to, we're in May right now, right? That was last week. It would have been last week, 25 years. Wow. So May the 13th, I spoke to my brother at about 5, 6 o'clock, asked him if he had any change for me because I'm going out. Yeah, no problem. Tell him to give you £30 and I'll give her back. Cool. He said, do you need the money for the tracksuit? I said, no, not yet. He's going to give me £90 for the tracksuit. No, yeah, I'm good, I'm good. All right, cool. You good though, sis? And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, listen to me. I said, what? He goes, I love you, do you hear me? But it felt different, something felt weird. And I felt a disturbance inside my engine. I was like, what was that? What was that? Why do I feel like that? And he said, do you hear me? And I said, yeah. Like, I love you too. He said, I love you, you hear me? And I said, yeah, but it felt weird. My whole soul just felt, I just didn't understand what the feeling was. And I was like, why do I feel like this? Why has he said it like that? I felt something. And then obviously I like slowly put down the phone. I remember a black phone with gold lining on a mahogany table with layers. And I put
So
on that phone.
landline, yeah?
Yeah, putting on that phone slowly. And I just felt weird, but I was like, okay, cool. Just grab the money, get ready, go to my friend's house. Did that, got to my friend's. As I got to her house, it just, energy still felt a little bit of a disturbance. So as we were looking to go out the door, I stepped out of the door over the threshold and my whole spirit said, no, get back in. I was like, what the hell was that? I said, please, can we just not go no more? She said, what are you talking about? Like, spliffs are rolled, we're ready to go. What are you talking about? Let's go. Nah, so because it was telling me that I shouldn't go. Right. She said, oh, stop being serious. And I said, nah, I'm being serious. Right. Something don't feel right. I just feel like something's going to happen there and I'm not supposed to be there. She said, but why are you feeling that all of a sudden? I don't know, and I just couldn't explain it. So she listened to me after a little while, pulled back, went in. We just like having a little drink and stuff indoors. Her brother went there, and about 3-4 hours later, he's come back and he goes, yo, someone got shot down there, Something felt weird in me. And I was like, yo, my brother. My friend was like, what are you talking about? I said, nah, my brother, man. I feel like something ain't right. And I was just sitting there distant. Everyone's talking, but the words are going over my head because I'm just in a different type of space right now. Then I hear my phone ring. Feeling weird now. So I answer the phone. I'm hearing crying and it's just screaming bar from the depths of her soul. And it's his old girlfriend. He's like, have you heard? And I'm like, nah, don't tell me no lies. Like, she's like, I'm being serious. So I'm just like numb, kind of listening, but I'm zoning out, I'm zoning back in. And like, my friend's like, yo, what? I put on the phone and says, yo, my brother? She's like, but you said you were just a while ago. I said, my brother? Something's happened. Like, I'm trying to get myself together and get my taxi so I can actually get to my mum now, because that's where my thoughts are. Get home, my mum's trying to get her stuff together because she's got a phone call. She's trying to go down there and say, Mum, you can't go there. She ain't listening. At this point, we're fostering 2 children. So obviously, I'm in the house now, so I can stay and watch these 2 children, but they're sleeping, so they don't even know what's happening right now. but she's trying to get herself out. One of her friends are trying to prevent her from doing it. She basically got prevented. She did go out the house, but she basically got prevented from going up there. All sorts of stories are coming back to us. We don't know what to believe. I'm calling my sister in London. My sister's in bits. She's trying to get herself together so she can get down here. And I don't even know where I'm at, but I'm in my room, pitch black. There's no lights on. And I feel like I'm in a bubble of what the fuck? I'm just going to keep it real with you. That's exactly where I was. What's happening here? I feel alone. You know, my brother's not here. My sister's not physically in this space. My mom's literally just trying to actually find out where her son is. What do I do here? So that's where I was when the real, deepest grief started for me.
Wow. I can relate to a little bit of what you're sharing. Just that deep gut feeling when you know that something's going to happen that you can't explain. But knowing that was your blood brother as well, you know, that's a whole nother level of pain, you know.
Definitely, that's my security blanket. My security blanket. Like, nobody would have troubled me when he's like, nobody. It's just not happening. Like, you're not going to do it because you don't want to play with my brother. Like, yeah. Do you know, like, obviously, people will be like, yo, how did she just turn this into a little joke? But this is just me. That TikTok trend, what did you say about my brother? Literally, it's that energy when it came to my brother in regards to me. I'm his little sister, and there's no way that you're going to play with me. So I felt like my whole security blanket just got ripped off. Now it's raw. I'm open. Vultures are coming in. Shit, what do I do? And that's what it felt like. Everyone was just coming from every different direction. And I didn't know what to do.
So, who would you say Alex became after the passing of your brother?
An angry, annoyed, irritated mess. Trying to actually navigate those spaces of grief, pain, hurt, heartbreak, feeling completely raw. At the same time, my mum's trying to grieve, so she can't be there for me. And I don't even blame her. I don't even have no hurt towards her saying like, oh my gosh, you weren't there for me. What are you talking about? This is a child. She can't even be there for herself right now. So I can't expect her to be there for me. So it's like our relationship becomes distant because she's in her realm, I'm in my realm. I'm smoking myself to sleep at this point. I'm like, yo, give me another spliff, and another spliff, and another spliff.
Was you smoking before? Or?
Back to back. Wow, I started smoking like 2 years before it happened, so 14. That's when I started smoking. My brother knew, he was the first person to know. And like, as soon as he knew, like, yo, he's giving me that because obviously he knows that he'd rather give it me than Miguel would go out there and go get that. He literally played a joke on me once where we was in one of his child's mother's houses, his son's mom, one of his son's moms. And as we're there, he literally came downstairs and threw everything to roll a spliff in my lap. My mom's sitting right here. He goes, yo, roll that. My mom's looking at me like, I dare you. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even smoke. He's laughing. He goes, roll that, man. I said, I'm not rolling that. Like, I don't even smoke. I don't know what you're talking about. So he's picked up all the stuff, laughing. I find it hilarious and walks to the kitchen. My mom's just looking at me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is hilarious. I was like, Mom, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. I got up, got in the kitchen. I said, you idiot, what are you trying to do, man? He goes, yeah, how come you never done it? I said, no way I'm going to roll. I said, I'm going to roll in front of Mom. You mad? But my mom didn't know I smoked at that point. You know, and then obviously he's busting joke, laughing about it in the kitchen. But that's just my bro for you. He was a joker, full on joker. But I just turned into this person that just wasn't fun to be around anymore. I'm trying to find ways to navigate this space, but I'm running away from myself. And I'm running myself away from myself in ways of, I'm going partying now and I'm doing it every single weekend. Can't tell me shit. But that partying is being blended into the weekday now because I don't even want to be in this world. don't want to be here on earth.
Right.
Like, frick this. What's the point? I'm literally seeing it as that now because I've got nothing to lose, is what's in my mind. Because he's gone now. You know, me and my mum are just completely distant. We're in two different spaces and realms. I don't want to be here now. You know, I'm trying to be there for his children. I'm trying to be there for his baby mothers. They're breaking. I'm like, I'm trying to be the glue that holds everyone together. You know, I remember being at funeral. His coffin is literally in the mosque because he was Muslim. So it's in the mosque on the floor. Coffin's there open. His baby mum was on the floor, dropped on the floor. My mum's on the floor. Our baby mum was rolling around. My niece is screaming at the top of her lungs. And I've grabbed her and I'm holding her and literally trying to hush her. But at this moment, I'm trying to hold these up together. So I'm like, I'm not even crying at this moment. And I'm bursting out crying. And then I'm like, I'm trying to hold her. I'm trying to make sure she's okay. You know, I'm trying to get her up off the floor. And I'm trying to get... It was chaotic in my mind because I'm trying to find ways of bringing comfort to these guys. But I also need the comfort.
Right.
So yeah, I was angry. I was constantly wanting to flip out on people, argumentative, constantly, because it's like I'm trying to find that test me button.
Wow. I didn't know he was Muslim, by the way.
Yeah.
That must have been a whole other experience because you've seen a funeral at a church, now you see one at a mosque.
Safer.
You see maybe the difference between them, or
Most definitely.
similarities or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I see immediately, it's almost like you step into the role of a protector and a comforter. You know, kind of almost neglecting yourself. But
you just hit a nail on the head. Oh, I didn't expect emotion to just surface then. Wow. My eyes are filling. Because you hit a nail on the head. I literally jumped into a role that my brother was already playing. And when he left, I felt like I had no choice but to play that role. His children needed me, his grandmothers need me, my mom needs me. And it's like, okay, yeah, but you need you. But I weren't looking at that then. That wasn't even a thought in my mind because, I'm watching everyone else self-destruct, but not realizing I'm also doing the same. Wow. Yeah, that realization just, Thank you. I needed that one. Wow.
Yeah, honestly, Alice, I've been there. I've been there. I feel it, you know. I feel like even with you explaining that you kind of just started smoking more, going clubbing, and this is almost like antidotes, vices, you know,
that part right
trying
there.
to numb what you're feeling. And it makes sense because even the way that the character that your brother built into you was one of strength.
Oh, definitely.
You know, and so that strength started to come out in so many different ways. But it was an expensive stuff, you know. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, like going out and partying and stuff, like you find yourself in Sheffield and you're partying for 2 nights, like you're partying for 2 whole days. But then also finding myself, now I'm taking ease. Do you know what I mean? I'm going out and now I'm taking ease. Like, but I'm realizing how these ease are literally opening my heart space. So it's actually making me probably talk about issues and stuff that's going on internally. But it's also putting me in the realm of I can now drink more because I'm taking this now and I'm realizing that I can actually drink more alcohol, which obviously is toxic to the body, and numbing to the emotions and the mind. So yeah, I was trying to just run away as much as I possibly could.
Wow, so deep. But what would you say you learned from that experience then?
I know that with grief, it happens in many different forms, and one thing I definitely realized is the version of me that my brother brought out of me and that I am with my brother, I will never be with anybody else. So I also grieve a part of me. I also grieve a version of me that will never ever see the light of day again. Regardless of me having brothers on my father's side, the relationship and the chemistry and the biology between me and my brother coming out of the same womb, having a particular essence that no one else can't replicate anybody. So he has a certain essence about him. Now, I will never have that relationship with anybody else. So that me won't be present again. So now she's also had to die at 16 because he died. So there's a version of me that dies with him. So yeah, I also realized that I was also mourning a version of myself. I was also mourning that version that was a sister to a brother that I will never see again. Yeah. It definitely taught me to honor my relationships more with the people that I have around me, because I never know when that can happen.
That would be the hair nail on every Oh my gosh, wow, to honor my relationships with other people.
Right.
That's something that we don't do.
Definitely. We think someone will always be there. That's not the case. People that are all ages, that ain't the case, no?
Wow.
Like, he died when he was 2 years old at that epileptic fit. He died for a few minutes, sorry, and they brought him back. If they never brought him back, I would never have met him. He was 11 years older than me. So I always think, wow, if I never met you, who would I have been then? And then when I was 2, someone tried to kidnap me in my pushchair. Mom was in the post office. She sent her back to pay the bills. He's ramping around in the post office. The woman's grabbed my pushchair and ran up the shop.
A woman?
Running down the road with my pushchair. He's chased after her and he's hitting this woman. Then let go of my sister, let go of my sister. Mom's obviously clocking what's going on. She's come out. Woman's let go and ran off. I always wonder who that woman was. What did you want with me? And where would I have ended up? But if my brother had died then, at 2, who would have saved me? So he also made sure that I was safe, like in more ways than one. Do you know what I mean? He saved my life. And then he taught me a lot until I was the age of 16, because he was a very present brother. You know, it wasn't a huge distance between us in regards to connection. He was very present in my life. More of a father than my own father. Yeah.
Wow. I love that, because again, it's not something that we experience with men in this day and age. Not often, let's say. I'm not going to paint everyone with the same brush, but I just think to have that protection and that security from a man is reassuring, and it's something that the world needs.
Definitely.
You know, when we don't have it, we step into that role, like what you said. You know, so. Okay, your brother died. You're 16 years old. I know that you experienced other losses after that.
Definitely, quite a few.
What was the loss directly after that?
Directly after that, you know, I probably end up missing some also. Do you know what I mean? It sounds so bad. It's like, how can you miss some deaths? Because there's been so many. It's been so many times. So I've had multiple friends pass away. But after that, I think the next one after that was my other uncle, where like he was next in line as my friend, because I'd always stop at the house because he had got a daughter and a son, and obviously I was close to his daughter when I was younger. I mean, I was close now, but that's still my cousin. Like, you can't play with her, and I'm not gonna, do you know what I mean, back her or have her back all the way. Still love her to bits. But we were closer then. We used to spend a lot of time together, so I used to stop at his house a lot. We used to play darts, and he'd always like cuss and tell me not to come into the kitchen because he's playing darts. Knock the door before you come in. Wow. And sometimes I'd forget, and I'd go, "What did I tell you? That dart could have been in your head." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry, Uncle. Don't you dare walk in here again. This dart is very dangerous." Because he'd play it on the back of the door.
Wow.
But yeah, like even memories of trying to hold onto his arm and try to pull his arm down and just be sitting there like, "Are you finished yet?" Because he was in the army and stuff, like strong. Yeah. So yeah, him passing away. Yeah, having an accident and falling down the stairs and literally breaking his neck. Oh my gosh. And yeah, he literally passed away, and that was a huge one as well, because that was a punch in the throat, like, what? Like, another death. Do you know what I mean? So I'm then looking at my nan, like, how is she? Like watching her children, because she lasted till 102. Yeah, so watching her children just drop out, that has to be a lot because she watched two of her children go. Yeah, my nan was also one, but that was a little bit later down the line. So after that uncle, then another uncle, and that was another one that was on my dad's side. But I had a feeling when I went to Jamaica last singing, I had a feeling like something just wasn't 100 when he was coming to me like out of breath, and I'm like, what's going on? And he was like, no, I'm all right. I'm saying, certainly all right. I'm saying to my dad, like, he needs to take him to the hospital because something isn't right. So I felt it. I felt like something wasn't too right. But yeah, he passed away, and that was a deep one. Rose baby mother, she committed suicide, and that was a huge one because when she would fall, I would help her up. When I'd fall, she'd help me up. So the whole way through us grieving for my brother, we'd be there for each other, and just make sure that we're both okay. So she had a lot of issues that were going on mentally that a lot of people didn't understand, but I understood her through and throughout. So whenever she'd come around me, there'd be a groundedness within her, and she'd anchor herself back, and then she'd be normal again. So her family would say, "How did you do that?"
Yeah.
I'd listen to her, I'd allow her to offload, allow her to just purge and have that moment. So when she died, that I was just collapsing on the floor. I remember my legs just going into jelly. And I was gonna go home that day, and somebody said, "No, I'll go to my friend's house." This friend has like two of my godchildren. I went to her house, and she had got a cat at that time, and the cat would always come, like go be around me, and she jumped on my lap. But she's doing this thing where she's kneading my stomach, and she's just doing this, kneading on my stomach, and I'm like, "What is she doing?" And I'm just watching her. What is she doing? Then my phone rings, she jumps off my lap. Answer the phone. My mom, and she's crying, and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, Lorraine. I said, what do you mean? And when she, like, I jumped up, and then she said, like, she's gone. I said, what do you mean? She's got my legs buckled. And the cat's run over to me again. I was like, you was preparing me. That's interesting. You just like the cat knew that something was going to occur. But yeah, my legs buckled. I just didn't know what to do with myself. And I was like, what if I was at home right now? Or maybe I was meant to be here at my friend's house to get some support. But yeah, now I'm thinking about my niece. How is she? What's going on in her mind right now? She's an orphan, there's no mom, no dad. She's just found her mom in that state. What's going on here? So now my heart's breaking now, and I'm like, oh, I need to get to her.
Right.
Do you know? So I'm trying to get to her to see, what's going on. And I just couldn't get to grips around my head of, should I have called her that day? Why didn't she call me when she's in the state she'd normally call me? What happened? Because I know there was a lot of spiritual war going on with her at that time that people just didn't understand. Yeah, I had a bag of questions but no answers. And then you start to put fault on yourself. Could I have called? And that would have helped her more. And, even though, yes, I spoke to her a few days before, but I didn't call that day. So now you start to,
Blame.
Yeah. Because that was a huge one for me, man. That was a huge one for me. At that point, I was doing a lot of crystal jewelry, so I made her a necklace and her earrings. And that is the hardest piece of jewelry I've ever made. I cried through the whole process. And I cut my hands so many times. My hands were shredded by the time I'd finished. But as I'm making it, I'm seeing her where she used to sit in my living room and how she was literally talking to me. And I'm reminiscing on all of these things in all of these spaces that she used to be. And I'm like, what the hell? How is she not here? I wasn't expecting this. So now what happens to my niece? My focus is on my niece right now, and I'm just trying to make sure that she's all right.
How old was your niece when she passed away?
She's 14, She's 14.
And how long after did your brother's baby mother commit suicide after he died? How long after?
About 12, 13 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because my niece was 2 when my brother died. So yeah, 12
Mm.
years.
That must have been intense. One for
Yeah,
her,
huge.
then obviously for you, because you was also being her comforter
Huge.
kind of thing,
And
and
we
vice
was tight.
versa.
We was tight.
Mm.
Like that, and again, I'm now grieving a part of myself that I'll never see again because that
Mm.
relationship I have with her, I don't have it with anyone else. Even till this day now, me and my niece will still do little things that we used to do with her. Do you know, like little voices that she used to do. You okay, darling? And we'll do those things now because it's like, who else we gonna do that with? Me and my niece get it because we were there, but we can't do that with anybody else. So it's like you're now grieving a part of yourself that you will never see again because that person's not here. And then my niece is now grieving a part of herself that she's never going to see again. But with my brother, there's a different kind of grief for her now because she don't remember him. She was 2. So she's grieving a man that she didn't know. But also, I needed you because you're my dad. Do you know? So it's like she can only learn about him through me, through my mom.
Wow, so she literally became an orphan,
Yep.
lost both parents, such a young age, 2 and 14. That's a whole other story.
Definitely. And at some point, she's actually said to me that she's ready to have the conversation. So she's ready to sit and talk about it. So that would be something that I'm going to do soon.
Yeah, I think that would be very, very like deep, intense to be fair. You know, like just imagine like moving through the world without parents. You know, like going onto graduation without parents, starting your new job without parents, like not being able to run to these people and say, hey, mom, I got a pass, or hey, like that kind of stuff. Just the small moments of joy that you would usually share, with your parents. Like, but one thing that I see is you're mentioning a pattern. Through every death you experience, you've lost parts of yourself.
Yep.
And so I want to put a pin in that because that I'm like that's important there. But I want to ask, what is the one thing that you feel like or wished that you would have done differently before when you experienced these deaths?
When I experienced those. Ooh. I don't know. What would I wish I done differently? Okay. The one thing that comes to mind is get therapy. I remember when obviously there was a lot going on with the police and stuff. Like no, we never got justice for my brother's death. So I remember them constantly being in the house all the time. It just used to annoy me. Like, why are you here if you're not gonna do anything? And at that time, like I said, I'm angry. But I remember them offering counselling. But I was so pissed off and annoyed. Like, I want you counselling. Like, you don't understand me. You don't know the life I've been through. You don't understand blah blah blah. You don't know my relationship with him. How can you tell me anything? You've never experienced this before. These are all the things that's coming from my soul and the pain and the hurt. So I decided that I'm not doing it. And then when my mom was speaking to her story, she made a charity off the back of everything to help those that have had people that have died in that type of way, and newspapers, all sorts of things, and she used to tell her story, where she's now. Well, I didn't do that. I didn't tell my story. I just be in the background. There's only one time that I went with her when she used to go to the prison, and I told my story from a victim's point of view for them to understand that there's also other people that you hurt when you remove, take somebody away from their life. It isn't just stops with them, it's a ripple effect. So yeah, therapy is something that I would have definitely got.
Yeah, wow. And so a lot of people run away from therapy because of that fear, right? Yeah, wow. Therapy, like grief counseling type thing.
Yeah, because it's different talking to friends about things, especially friends when they don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't get your mental state. They don't understand the psychology of it. They don't understand the communication that you're trying to communicate. They've never been there, but they've never experienced anyone that has. So they don't get it. They're not in the same space or realm, or not seeing anybody be in that space or realm to even have a relatability with that.
Right, right. I have another question for you. So, who did Alex become after losing her brother's partner?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Whew. Who did she become after losing her? Wow.
Would you say Alex became a brother?
In a sense, yes, because I felt like I had to be there for my niece even more. So, even though I felt like that, and my brother passed away anyway, I was around his children way more after he passed away. But yeah, I really felt like I needed to be there for my niece 1,000 times more than I ever was before. She'd call me and I'm answering that phone like that. I don't care from what meeting I'm in. I don't care where I am because anything can happen at this moment. You know, she was going through a lot of different stuff. Obviously, I don't want to delve too deep into certain things because I know that that's her story to tell. Yeah. So certain things that she was going through, I know that she needed that support. So yeah, part of me definitely that. Also another part of me like, why me? Why do I go through all of this death? Until I started literally writing songs about it. Because I felt like I was being traced by the Grim Reaper. And I remember that was my literal exact words on one of my lyrics. I feel like I'm being chased by the Grim Reaper. I'm out of breath. Can you hear it coming from the speaker? And literally, he's taking too many friends and family from around me. This continuous dark spiral that surrounds me. And that's what I felt like. I felt like I was constantly in the spiral of death. Like, oh, another one. Oh, another one. Oh my gosh. Like, how strong can a person actually be to just keep standing, keep standing, keep standing? And I don't have no one else around me that's going through it. You know, obviously my mom, obviously, you know, those day moms and stuff for my niece. But none of my friends were experiencing any of that. So I always used to wonder, like, how come my life is a madness? Yeah.
Wow. Like, even that lyric right there that you said, you know, I feel like being chased by the Grim Reaper. You know, the Grim Reaper has like one objective, you know?
Right. Nothing else but that.
And it's like you're constantly now in this defense mode, like, what's gonna happen next? Is it gonna happen?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
next phone call. Is it gonna be death? Someone died. You know what I mean? Like,
my nervous system is in continuous fight or flight mode. It doesn't understand about relaxation. It doesn't understand what peace meant. Only found peace later on in life. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Like, my nervous system doesn't understand peace.
It didn't know rest. It didn't know peace. I remember I used to love the fact of the 30 seconds of waking up. I used to love that moment because nothing was present to me at that moment. I never was thinking of any of it. I wasn't thinking of none of the pain. I wasn't thinking of this person's gone. I'd open my eyes out of my sleep and I'd be like, another day. Whoa. And then all of it comes back. Hitting. Shit. Where's the Rizla? Where's the cigarette? Where's the weed? I need to roll one. Because now I need to numb it. So that 30 seconds, it was like almost a 30 seconds of peace and everything comes tumbling down because you're remembering everything that's actually happening within your reality once again. So yeah, the 30 seconds, that used to be my favorite moment of the day. Never realized it until obviously after.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. Like I get that in the mornings when I wake up, I'm like still in. Then next minute, everything that happened yesterday, what this person said to me the other day, everything starts sticking. I'm like, no,
exactly. It's like you're dodging the madness of this realm as soon as you come back into it.
Literally.
And that also started to make me understand, like, while I was women committed suicide, I started to remember certain things and, you know, I started to understand that who would want to keep coming back to this realm? And it's like that. So I got it because I was in the space. I got it. I was in the same space she was. But she was also having spiritual battles. and in spaces that people did not understand. Like, and I get it now because there's things that she was seeing from the spiritual realm that I now see. There's things that she was experiencing from the spiritual realms that I now experience. And I find it so fascinating to me. It's like, I watched you go through that journey, and I'm now going through that journey, have been for a good while. Was you preparing me for that? Like, was you showing me stuff? Because I didn't know how to deal with it then. I do now because I've had no choice but to help myself navigate through that. But yeah, it made me understand, like, who wants to wake up constantly feeling that pain and hurt and ugh, I don't want to be here. So you can get it.
So how would you say that grief shaped your reality then? Because now we're talking about spirit, something spiritual, you know.
Yeah, it definitely opened up. After my brother, I opened up a definite spiritual gateway to my own abilities. My dreams of him were very vivid and had a lot of messages, and the messages will always be spot on. Warning me of certain people, warning me of certain things, showing me, when people try to say, oh, this is this way, and then in the dream he said, this is what's going on. And it would always be dead spot on. Never tell me a lie. Brother, on my birthday, he'd come and visit me in my dream. And it was literally my birthday a few months after he passed. And I wasn't in that mood to be partying or anything. I was numb. I didn't know what feelings were. The fuck's that? I don't even care. Literally, it was in that space. Like, yeah, smoking myself to sleep constantly. So when I woke up that morning, I'd already dreamt him, and I dreamt that he knocked the door, my mum let him in, came up the stairs, at the top of the stairs, and we're just talking. I said, yo, what are you doing here? And I remembered in my dream that he wasn't here physically. What are you doing here? And he started laughing. He goes, you know that I wasn't going to miss today, man. What are you talking about? What am I doing here? And we're literally just talking back and forth. And stuff. He says, yo, you good? And I'm saying, nah, man, what the hell? Like, what happened? And he goes, yo, you got mum. You got the kids. You're good, man. You're good. Yeah. I'm saying, no, I'm not good though. And he goes, yeah, but I've got you. All right, you hear me? I've got you. Went down the stairs, disappeared. As I walk up, the door's knocking. So my mom's shouting up and says, anyone at the door for you? And I says, no. She's gone to the door, no one's there. She's opened it, no one's there. I was like, mom. She's like, what? I said, I just dreamt Corey. She says, what do you mean? I said, I dreamt him that you opened the door, and as you've opened the door, he's come up the stairs, and he said something to me. And she says, oh, are you alright, son? And I just closed back the door again. Never really had a conversation after that about it. Just left it. So yeah, there's a lot of spiritual things that occurred and happened, and a lot of messages that I was always told from him through my dreams, and a lot of abilities that started to kick in. Me having a lot of premonitions, like the one I had the night when I wasn't able to get out of the house. So yeah, it definitely got me more deeper into my spiritual journey and spiritual realms, and knowing when I'm not supposed to be in a place. Leave now. It's literally like it's loud, so loud I have to go, and something crazy happens there. Yeah.
Wow. I have a pressing question, not Alex.
Yep.
And the pressing question is, how do you deal with the feelings that you numbed out, the emotions that were left unchecked? Like, how did you deal with that?
I feel like it would come back in specific ways, whether it's just an outburst of tears randomly, or a anxious moment where I don't even want to be around anybody, and I'm just indoors for days, and then I'm getting anxiety, and now I'm like, oh, what is going on here? Well, I'm not realizing it at the time. Do you know what? My nervous system's trying to purge out all of this, all the knots, all the blockages that are sitting within it, in order for it to actually, run its way properly again, be back to a state of ease. There's a lot of healing that I got through plant medicine. plant medicine ceremonies and stuff like that, like your ayahuasca, um, things like that helped a lot. But I had to do a lot of the work before I even got there. I had to do a lot of the honest moments of, are you in this relationship that you're in right now and accepting less than you deserve because you want a male around you because you're missing your own brother? I had to ask myself those questions. Smack in the face. Literally, ask yourself the question, what are you doing with this person? Because why are you attracting someone that's of, you know, that, let's just keep it real, like that hood mentality? Why are you finding this attractive? Like, my brother's from the hood, so he's got that essence about him. So am I finding that attractive because I'm missing my own brother? Now I'm finding this attractive and accepting this state of relationship when I've outgrown it now. And I remember the day of outgrowing that relationship, and I was like, I can't do this no more. I can't be here no more. I am no longer this no more. And that was a huge healing for me, even though it was a hard relationship to pull away from. And it got super toxic. And I literally ended up getting my head bust, lips split, multiple places. I literally got bad because I decided to pull myself away from this individual. And it wasn't the nicest thing to actually experience, but I literally seen it as a wake-up call to understand that this is not what you need to accept. You decided to try and go back. What are you doing? A wake-up call. So it was a huge wake-up call, and it did then, what's the word I'm looking for? Springboard me into a powerful opportunity a week later. Well, my whole face is mashed up. I've now got an interview in a week. Can't stay at my house because I'm just being threatened constantly. Had to stay with two of my other godchildren's mother in another city. I'm just in a space of, yo, what the hell is happening here? Why is this happening to me? But I've had to do that. And how am I going to heal my face? Because I can't go to an interview like this. It was an interview to get myself into an entrepreneurial store that was in Mailbox. Time I was doing crystal jewelry. I've built my own website. I've got sales already in America. I've literally been doing my own thing for a little while now and been able to build some sort of a community around what I'm doing. So I want to go for this now because I know I can get it in my mind, but look at my face. I remember I had a garnet necklace and a garnet bracelet and earrings that I was just saving to sell to somebody, but something in my soul was like, put that on. Now garnet's good for the blood, good to heal. Okay, cool. So let me put that necklace on, put the earrings on, and I wore it. I kid you not, within 3 days, my face was healed. I don't know how. Wow. But I was grateful, very thankful. Went to this interview and it was like a Dragon's Den style. So it was Birmingham University. That's where the entrepreneurial store was through, but you didn't have to be going through Birmingham University to get it. Right. So I did it, Dragon's Den style. Got called to the next chapter. Wow. Next one was like, yep, you're part of the store. And the store was called Birmingham Made Me. So I'm saying a week after I had that huge, explosion of a situation, I then end up in a store, in the Mailbox, selling my crystal jewelry to people that would probably never ever have known of me. There's 2 stores. Then I end up managing the store. So now I'm finding entrepreneurs to come into the store. And the experiences just literally expanded from there. We won an award for the best store and stuff like that. Like, there was a lot that literally opened up because of me making that decision to step away from that. Wow. So it's almost like when you let go of what looked like an opportunity to heal, you're able to step into, true healing, right? Through these other opportunities that present itself. Exactly. If we didn't step out, you would have probably seen that. Yeah, most definitely. Wow. Most definitely. It's like let go and let God. Like, sometimes we don't trust. Right. Take that leap of faith. Yeah, we don't trust that it's actually going to be something. Yeah, but what if that's opening up roots of, what's the word? Roots and ideas of oh, there's a word that I'm looking for, doubt.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, no, don't do that. Like, this is where you're going. This is what's going to occur. This is going to happen. Stay with it. You're good. But yeah, I was still had anger in me after that. I was still, my communication was still affected because I'm speaking from wounds. You wouldn't
Yeah.
know me when I say this. I was speaking from wounds.
Right.
So when I'm speaking and people are probably annoying me, that wound is now getting irritated.
Yeah.
I'm flicking venom onto people that don't deserve it. So I'm falling out with people, and I'm like, why the frick am I falling out with people? Because you're speaking from a wound, you're speaking from pain, you're speaking from a broken heart. Your heart's not literally full and healed, and it's cracked. And through those cracks, there's things that are spitting out that you don't mean, but it's spitting out because you're in pain. So you're inflicting pain on others unnecessarily. And yeah, I had to face myself. I had to be straight honest and say, yo, you have to change. You can't do this no more. You can't do this no more. This is not how you communicate with people. This is not how you deal with the people that's around you. So yeah, I started eating better, changing the way that I'm eating. Okay, that's one route in order for me to actually heal myself. And then now I start, listening to meditation and start sitting with myself. But it's chaos first. I'm sitting and I'm all these thoughts, flick. Breathe. Just be. Don't even think about all these thoughts. But I'm being consumed by them. And it's my own demons. It's my own things that I need to solve. It's my own problems and issues. It's junk from other people. And I'm literally trying to surf through it little bit by little bit by little bit. And I'm just literally being around more people that are on that vibration and, they're doing that self-work. And I start to study and start to look into things. Now I'm starting to read and I'm starting to expand the mind some more. Because even though I was reading at 16, I've then gone down the trail of self-destruction for a while. So yeah, I start to nourish myself mentally, emotionally, physically. And when I'm reading and I'm learning certain things, I'm then putting it into practice. And then I'm seeing how I'm healing.
Wow, this is so powerful because sometimes we just stop at pain. Like, literally just stop there. But what I'm seeing, even the journey that you're taking me on right now, is helping me to understand that no, you don't stop at pain, you push through it. Right. It's like when you give birth, you push through the pain so that life can come out. Right. That's what was happening with you. You was pushing through the pain so that you could experience life because you've experienced so much death.
Exactly. I didn't want to just exist. I want to live. A lot of people are out here just existing, just sitting in front of the TV, watching the TV, doing the same routine every single day, Groundhog Day, not happy. I want to live. Yeah. And I find that if I explore, if I expand my creativity and expand my consciousness through feeding myself good, like mentally, emotionally, physically, and I'm expanding every single day to actually bloom a new flower, I'm really, truly living, not just existing on earth.
And I want to also acknowledge, because I know a lot of us kind of glaze over it because it's hard to admit sometimes, but I want to acknowledge that, yeah, it's like you escaped an abusive relationship.
No.
I wouldn't say like I'm not going
to actually say abusive in that sense. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy, maybe like only twice, but that situation only happened twice. And I say only happened twice because I was together for a good while, 6.5 years. And there was a moment that he was having where he wanted me to be around him, but I needed to be there for one of my friends. And then it happened an argument, slap back, slap back, boom, bus slip. Whoa. What happened there? But I still stayed. And then that final was that, you get me? Like bus slip in a couple of places, I'm literally mashed up now. So it wasn't abusive in that sense of, you get me, he was a horrible person, because he's not a horrible person. But I also know there was healing that he needed to go through too. He's not a horrible person at all. But there's things that he was also going through, and sometimes it's time to part or it starts to get toxic.
And if you would have stayed there, that's probably what would have happened.
Yeah, it could have. Do you know what I mean? Like, who knows? what would actually been the next step, but I know that I'd outgrown the relationship is definitely what I've known, and I could feel it in my whole soul, and it was just time to go. And there wasn't emotion in me to be like, oh, like I feel I need to stay. My whole soul was like, the direction is left, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool, let's go.
What I do find interesting about that is that kind of what you explained is oftentimes what us women look for when we, for example, being abandoned by our fathers. We go to men and we look for, that fatherhood kind of mentality without realizing it, or we look for that security, or we try to become that. Like with myself, I tried to become that security, that protector, and then it just became super toxic with every relationship that I was in, with different women and things like that. Then I was like, Stephanie, you, like, who are you? And it's like that moment where I have to ask myself, who am I? That's when I realized I've been shaped by my circumstances. I've allowed my circumstances to identify who I thought I was, and so it's almost like when you come to that moment, you start to, it's either you shed skin or you start adding more layers. And I feel like for you started to shed. So when you started shedding skin, did you ever come to like, I guess, did you ever sit with yourself and ask yourself, okay, how can I heal through grief? Because I know you said you went on meditation, you started to do all of these different types of things, but did you ever sit with yourself and ask yourself that at any point?
I didn't, I didn't actually ask myself how I can heal through grief. I knew that the pain that I'd gone through had changed me.
Yeah.
Because always been that, that vibey, happy go lucky, like it's grooving, dancing, it's moving. So that person that you see now is always who I was before the grief. But I turned into a person that wasn't fun anymore to be around, not a vibe to be around anymore. So it took me a while in order to shed all of that, in order to freaking dig out those dark crevices inside of myself, in order to become again, that light, fun-loving person once again.
Right.
So yeah, like it was deep, but it had to be done.
Okay, I have another question. Do you think that death is a necessary part of life?
Yeah, it's the only thing you're guaranteed when you're born. Like you're not even guaranteed food, shelter, love. You're not even guaranteed any of that, but you're guaranteed death. Like from the moment you open your eyes into this world, you're guaranteed death. And we don't know when that's gonna come. None of us ever know. What date, what year are we gonna live to 90? Ain't nobody know. I'm sure my nan never knew she was gonna live to 102, but that's a long time. That's a long life.
That's a very long life. Many generations there.
Yeah, and it's necessary because everything's a cycle.
Yeah.
Every single thing that you go through is a cycle. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship, it doesn't matter if it's a job, every single thing's a cycle because the end of it is going to come at some point. But in that end, there's also a new beginning. So it's a cycle. It just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing.
So have you ever questioned your purpose in life after losing your person?
Yeah, definitely. Because if I want to live and not just exist, then I want to be as fruitful as possible. And in order to do that, if I'm doing what is a so-called purpose, then I'm on job, I'm on the path, and I'm helping as many people as possible. Because from a young age, I've always been that person that wants to help people. I've always loved helping others. I've always loved being of service. That could be just the Virgo element of me, but being of service is something that I love to do. So anyone that I'm around would always tell you that I've helped them in some way, shape, or form.
I can test that
one. I like to make sure that people become the greatest version of themselves too, especially the fact that I always see potential in people. Potential doesn't mean anything, no, unless action's taken in order to, do it. So I can see all the potential in the world. If that person doesn't see it, then they're not going to do anything with it. But because I can see the potential of others, I will always like, oh, do you know that you can do this and do that and do that and do that. You have that essence of instill them with that, that
Yeah.
motivation
Right.
to actually go and do what it is that they're capable of doing and more.
So it sounds like your purpose is to like serve others as well. It seems
Definitely.
like that also brings you joy, which is beautiful,
Yeah.
because, oftentimes we're very selfish. We live in a, done well type thing, every man for themselves, but you're like, no, this is a community thing, It's not just about me, it's about you as well. Like, how can you prosper? Like, can you see your potential? Like, this is, I feel like this is what you're good at, and you really help people to grow. That's what I was doing. I was thinking about you this morning, and I prayed actually about you, and I was just like, man, God, wow, thank you for Alex. I was like, thank you for Alex. Like, this woman is special. I don't think you even see how special you are. Like, I literally flat out on my knees. I was like, this woman is very special, and like, I love what you said previously, because it kind of links to what I want to share next. There is a scripture in the Bible that says the promise is that the dead will rise again, but this time with a body that is immortal, a spiritual body, right? And I remember us having a conversation before about nurturing your soul, right? And so, though this is going to pass away, like, because God has planted eternity in each and every one of our hearts, it means that we live on forever, right? But it's like, okay, cool, how are we raised? So, knowing that fact now, why do you think we mourn?
I feel like the mourning is to honor that spirit of that person that was in that lifetime, but also, like I said before, a grief of a version of you, a grief of they're no longer in this world in this lifetime. Wow. Because I do believe that we go on to have other lifetimes, wherever that may be. That's another question. But we do go on to have other lifetimes. So I know I'm no longer going to see you in this lifetime now. So I'm grieving that connection that I had with you. Like you always have special connections with people, every single person that you deal with. So now I'm also mourning a part of myself. There's an energy that you're mourning, there's an essence you're mourning. There's so much levels that you're mourning connection with that person that you're not ever going to experience again.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, I want to experience you again in this lifetime. That hurts. That hurts to know that. That's it.
That's I completely agree with you on that, because I'm like, it's so true. Like, what is it that if we know that the dead's gonna rise again, like, what are we mourning? We're mourning the experience of the connection that we had with one another. That's I heard that before, but that was powerful.
Everyone laughs differently, everyone walks differently, talks differently. You may have similarities to someone else. You laugh like such and such, but it's still going to be an essence of you that isn't quite there. And I asked that question when my first sister-in-law passed away. I remember looking in that coffin and saying, "Where are you?" And I looked around the church. Where are you? Where's the essence of you? Where's your laugh gone? Where's your humor gone? Where's your walk gone? Where's your vibe? Like, where are you? The essence of you? Because the body's right here, right now. But where's the essence of you? That made me start diving deeper into the soul and the spirit, and where it goes and how it gets there. And I start to have all of these conversations and connections with others that have had spiritual experiences. And I just started diving deeper because I had a lot of questions that couldn't be answered by anything else. Whenever I tried to ask Imam, for instance, Imam, this and that, I'd be shut down. I asked a pastor, I was never given a good answer. So I'm starting to search and study and look into things, because there's obviously got to be answers to certain things. And even though I don't have an answer for everything, my experiences have shown me a lot.
Wow. Do you think you would ever be satisfied if we didn't have the answers to everything?
Yeah, I feel like we're not supposed to know everything in this lifetime, and it also depends on what have I come here to learn. Sometimes I haven't come here to learn, not even specifically, because okay, cool, you've come here to learn love. So why am I getting my heart broken constantly? This is just example, like not myself, but this is just example. Like, why are you gonna break my heart constantly? Because I needed to show you what love is through heartbreak. And we're expecting that it's gonna be like, I'm just gonna be showered in love constantly. No, I'm gonna break your heart so you know exactly what it's like to actually be loved. And I feel like that's what we go through in life sometimes.
Wow. Yeah. that was deep. This card flew out of my hand, but I remember some the last couple of questions that I had. And so what would you say to someone who is experiencing grief right now? What piece of advice would you give them?
Ooh. I'm gonna look directly into the cameras and say this one. Do not be scared to go and get that counseling and get that therapy, because talking to someone and offloading, especially to someone that you don't know, is always easier. And it's probably easier to go into the depths of feelings that you don't even want other people to actually know and see because you know them. So don't be scared to do that. I feel like that delayed a lot of my healing. And if I turned it back, I would definitely do so. Take it easy with yourself. You don't have to heal in the times that other people do. Even if you see someone else healed in 2 years, 6 months, that's their journey, that's not yours. And time doesn't make it easier and better. You know, when they say time heals, you don't heal. What you do is learn of better ways to cope. So your coping mechanisms are what you begin to learn to deal with, because now I could sit here and have a conversation about my brother and tears will stream. There'll be days when I'm like, I'm completely fine, tears ain't streaming today. But it literally just depends how sensitive I am at that moment. So everyone heals in a different time, but you just learn different ways how to actually cope with that. So it's not like a complete and utter healing of the wound no longer exists. Oh my gosh, not sensitive anymore. You'll have moments when it really is, and you'll have moments when it's not. And guess what? That's all okay. That's all okay. And don't pull yourself away from people all the time. You're gonna have your moments, yeah, that you want to, but don't always feel like you have to be alone in your own bubble, because that again can put you in spaces that makes you not actually want to be here. And I've experienced that over and over and over, where I don't want to be here no more. And I've noticed that I only experience that when I pull myself away from others way too much and isolate myself. So just make sure you've got that supportive bubble around you. And if it's not people that you know, go and join some groups, go and join some community groups. Yeah, that's the advice that I would give to those that are going through grief right now. It's all right to feel the way that you do. Like, we all deal with things differently.
And what's the one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
It's okay to feel because from a young age, I've always been very, very much a person that has empathy. But in having empathy, I feel deeply. So I'm feeling everything. And I'm noticing that everybody was like that. But it's okay to feel, it's okay to be different. People always want to be the exact same as other people so you don't stick out. But to me, it's great being different. Like, it really is okay to be that.
I love that, because I was thinking about creation in the last couple of days actually, and the most unique thing about each and every one of us is our fingerprints. There's no one in the world that has the same fingerprint.
Exactly.
And that's like an emphasis on our individuality.
Right.
So yeah, like I love that. But thank you so much for sharing, Alice. This has been incredible. You've given me so much to think about and meditate on, and also a better understanding of how to heal through grief, because grief doesn't kill you, but you heal through it, right? And how to balance those emotions, those feelings, and how to be okay with feeling, because a lot of times we gravitate towards numbing those feelings, but you've just expressed that actually, you need to feel, in order to connect.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for your growth. Thank you for being willing to allow these experiences to also shape you.
Mhm.
Because I know for a fact that you're a pioneer for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people look towards you. You know, and so yeah, I want to encourage you to continue being a pioneer.
Thank you so much. Sometimes I just overlook things because I just do it. So yeah, I don't think too much about it.
Catch you next time, guys. See you soon.
Thank you very much.